anytime that you're around people who are doing the things you want to do, you're becoming more familiar and therefore more comfortable with what it is you need to be doing to have the same success. So I like to surround myself with the type of people that I want to be like. And when you go to conferences like this, that's what you do.
Hey, welcome. Today we're talking about Gateway to Freedom, the Real Estate Investor Conference being held right here in St. Louis, October 17th, 18th, and 19th. And I've got a special guest here I'm excited to introduce to you. If you don't already know her, if you know her, you'll be excited to see her again. But first, my name is Rich Groves. I'm a real estate investor right here in St. Louis. I did my first investment property in 2005, and I've been connecting people ever since. Let me introduce you to my co-host over here.
Yeah, my name is Josh Wiesler. I'm a small business coach in St. Louis. I started in the investing world, originally wholesaling. I've done some rehabs, project management, worked for a title company, was an agent. Like, if you could do it in the investing world, I've probably done it, and loved helping other people do it so much. I became a coach and then became a small business coach. And so for us, one of the things with our conference is, you know, whether you're just starting out and you may be having a 9-to-5, or you've been an established investor or in a business and you just want to learn how to make your investments with real estate more effective, more profitable, reclaim your time, reduce your stress, whatever that ends up being. Like, there isn't a magic bullet out there to do that. But for us, connecting with people and having this conference, setting up just amazing people that are going to provide a ton of value and looking to give back and to help the community as a whole, like, that's what we're doing with this conference. And our guest, I'll throw it back over to Rich for the introduction on one of our most amazing guests that will help us do that. Rich.
Absolutely. So our guest tonight is someone who has been in the real estate investing game right here in St. Louis for over 7 years. She focuses on long-term rentals and runs 2 meetups here in the St. Louis area, both the Invest Her group and the St. Louis REI Happy Hour. Let me introduce you to Megan Greathouse. Megan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Sure thing.
Is there anything that we missed? Anything you want to add for your intro?
Oh, that's kind of the real estate side. Besides that, I've got 2 little kids, and I just have a lot of fun hanging out with them, traveling, having a good time with life.
Yeah. And you're really involved and invested in networking in St. Louis area as well, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that real estate is at its core a people business. Most businesses are, if you really drill down all the way. And I think that's the most fun part of it too. So I love getting out there and meeting people who are investing, who are getting started in investing, making new friends. And then it's amazing what those relationships can turn into over time.
So let me ask you this though, you're in real estate investing. What did the prior to real estate investing Megan say to herself that made you want to get into real estate investing? What was it that brought you here?
Yeah, I think when I was in growing up, I always heard, put aside 10% of what you make sure that you're going to be able to retire someday. And I was always curious, like, well, how do I do that before 65? And it was kind of like, could I do it at 60? Could I do it at 55? Could I do it at 50? And the more I dug in and looked into personal finance and different things that I could be doing to better my long-term trajectory, the more and more I heard about real estate. So I got very interested in it. But I don't think that the fire really lit under me to get started until I had my first kid. And that was the big impetus. I had to go back from maternity leave and do a 9-to-5, which really was more like an 8:30 to 5:30. And sometimes there was travel. And I was like, I'm missing my baby. So that was what kicked me into high gear to start buying real estate.
When you got started, you, or maybe you didn't, I should ask this. Did you bring on a mentor or a coach at all when you got started?
I didn't. I'm a big reader. And I believe in, the internet gives us so many resources out there. And I do think that you can have a mentor that's kind of a whole bunch of people and their different perspectives coming together. So I never had one single mentor, but I was doing a lot of reading, a lot of networking, listening to podcasts. And between all those different resources, I felt like I had enough to get me going.
Were there any fears you had in front of you when you got started?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's scary to do anything new. I think people tend to be creatures of habit, and it's always a little bit uncomfortable when you're trying something new. And especially when you're talking about something that can involve a lot of time and financial resources. But I also am a big fan of perspective. I always tell people who are getting into real estate, think big picture, make sure you have a healthy perspective. Are you going to do one investment and because it doesn't go well, end up on the street? Most of the time, that's not the case. Worst case scenario, I would have lost money. It would not have felt good, but I wasn't going to end up on the street. So when you put things in that kind of perspective, it makes it a lot easier to take those first few steps.
So once you confronted your fears and moved past them, what kind of success did you experience?
I think success is all very relative, of course, but I've definitely seen the ability to move faster and more effectively and efficiently on the things that I want to do. I've continued to buy real estate. I've been able to get into bigger projects where there's more investment involved in terms of renovation up front and the ability to push equity because I did that work with my team, of course. I've been able to partner with people who I think early on I wouldn't have felt confident enough to partner. And I just got to the point where I was able to leave the 9 to 5 and really be living a life on my own terms because of real estate.
What I heard in that, Megan, was like you were able to push yourself kind of outside of your comfort zone. You used a phrase that I've been in the investing world for a while, but I haven't really heard, and some of our people listening may not know. What does push equity mean?
Yeah, so equity, so there are a few different ways that you grow equity in your real estate.
Right.
There's natural appreciation over time, of course, but you can also go in and make an investment better, either by managing it better than the previous owners did, or by renovating it so that you can increase those rents.
Gotcha.
So, that I like to try to do things that increase the value of my investment.
Yeah,
and some of that will happen
Value
naturally, but the forced appreciation, that's what I was referring to by the pushing the equity. I think that's where I've made a lot of gains in my business.
So with that, one of the things that we want to help people with that are listening and are interested in coming to a conference like this, and maybe on the fence, or maybe we want them to experience you used accelerated timelines for sure. And one of the biggest things with that is learning from people that have walked the path before you and made those mistakes and bumped their heads maybe and stubbed their toes. What mistakes did you make that you would want somebody that is following behind you and would be on the fence of coming to this conference? What would you want to help them avoid?
Oh gosh, mistakes. There are so many.
There
You're
go.
going to make so many. So that's it. That's something to just know off the bat. Don't fear mistakes. Understand that they're going to happen. It's just a natural part of the process. I think my mistakes ranged from, hiring the wrong contractor and things like that, all the way up to just letting fear hold me back and not moving quickly enough. Sometimes you look back at the deals that got away because you were nervous.
Yeah.
I think in my second year of investing, there was an off-market opportunity in Richmond Heights, which, everyone in the St. Louis area knows that's a pretty solid area. It was a cool 4-family. And it was off-market. I was the only person talking to this seller, and we were $10,000 off. And I walked away because I was so scared. I was so scared I was going to be overpaying. Yeah. I'm pretty sure someone bought that and a year and a half later sold it for $100,000 more than what I would have been buying it for. So, I've lost, money or made not as much as I was hoping on a deal, or hired the wrong contractor and had to fire them halfway through. But I think the biggest mistakes have always been not doing things that I should have just gone for and not been afraid.
One of the things we look at, you said, make it not that fear keeping you from like making a mistake, but really it could be from preventing you from taking an opportunity. What opportunity does a conference like Gateway to Freedom offer for people who want to either learn about real estate or build their business? Like, what opportunity would them coming to a conference like this do for them?
I love conferences like this because anytime that you're around people who are doing the things you want to do, you're becoming more familiar and therefore more comfortable with what it is you need to be doing to have the same success. So I like to surround myself with the type of people that I want to be like. And when you go to conferences like this, that's what you do.
One of the things for us is big on, this is a gateway to your freedom. We call it Gateway to Freedom, right? But for everybody, freedom means a different thing. For our listeners out there, it's going to mean a bunch of different things to them. What does freedom mean for you?
I think when you start on this path, most people hear freedom and they're thinking about the term financial freedom, right? Yeah. But why do we want financial freedom? Money is strictly a tool. I think that freedom is when you have options and flexibility in your life above and beyond what most people around you have. So I enjoy picking my kids up when they get out of school at 2:45 because I don't have to be at work until 5 p.m. I enjoy going on trips around the world with my family using, business points from renovations that I've done.
Yeah.
I enjoy going horseback riding on a random Tuesday because I don't have to be in an office. And then knowing that I've got a portfolio that gives me financial options as well, above and beyond just the everyday income. So freedom is really freedom of movement in your life, I think is really what it boils down to for me.
Movement in your life. Yeah, that's the first time I've heard that.
That's right.
That's
I like
phenomenal.
it. If you liked hearing what Megan had to say and you want to hear more, you got to get out to Gateway to Freedom, October 17th, 18th, and 19th here in St. Louis. Go to www.g2free.com. That's g2free.com and get your ticket today. Prices are only going to go up the longer you wait. So right now is the cheapest they're going to be. So get out there and get your tickets. And we actually do a really good job of connecting people to other real estate investing meetups in the St. Louis area. So once you buy your ticket, if you don't want to wait to get networking and connecting with people, Josh, what should they do?
Well, they should, while they're on our site, there's a link to click on, and it has a list of all of your St. Louis RIA events, Real Estate Investor Association events. Megan's are on there, and we've got 15 plus. So like literally averaged out to one every other day in St. Louis that you could be participating and meeting people like Megan and starting building your, as we call it, your super team, your relationships in the network, in the community before you even get to the conference. So you're primed, you're ready, and you've learned from these people through these networking events. So click on that button, sign up for the list, and get your tickets today.
If the folks out there, which I know they have, picked up on you, like they felt your vibe, they're like, I've got to connect with this gal. How can people, follow you on social media or connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on all the usuals: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I think it's Megan _ great _ houses on Instagram, Megan Greathouse on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm fairly active on there. I try to kind of post about what I'm doing, what's happening in life. And I would love to connect with everyone.
Megan, thank you very much for joining us and sharing a little bit about yourself. And definitely, I can't wait to hear you at the event as well as your networking events. And so, thank you again for joining us, and thank the listeners for tuning in and listening to our information and what Megan had to share. And we look forward to seeing you at the event.